unpack what we cannot unsee from yesterday.
It's not even funny. It's really not funny. I shouldn't be
It
laughing.
isn't funny, is it?
No, it's
It's
not
actually
funny.
sad, isn't it?
It's atrocious. I just don't know. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we fell so far so quickly.
Well, partly because of misogyny.
Yes,
Let,
absolutely.
let's just let's just let's name that. So part of it is that there were about like 100,000, guys in Pennsylvania and in Wisconsin and in Michigan who just couldn't, who I don't know, hate their mothers or their wives so
Hmm.
much that they couldn't vote for a woman. So remember, Hillary and her emails, that was literally the worst thing that could ever happen to us, according to these guys.
Emails
And
don't seem
so,
that deep anymore. They just don't seem that important in the grand scheme of things. Emails really just weren't that bad.
I mean, to think, yeah, so you asked, how do we end up here? That's how we ended up here. I mean, that and, Trump just basically being willing to do anything to get elected. So, I mean, look, so we're here now.
Mm.
And what a place we find ourselves in. So, listen, folks, again, if you're listening on Facebook Live, hit the share button, bring others in this conversation. Don't keep all of this to yourselves. So, let me just lay out the basics of what happened yesterday and then, have at it.
Okay,
Tell me how we make sense of this.
we can't
So,
anyway.
so the only comparison that they did not make, and I'm sure there was probably fighting within the campaign because knowing Trump, he probably wanted to make the comparison that he probably wanted to say, this is just like Jesus.
Mm. Oh,
He
gee.
t- he too went down on a Friday,
Oh,
and three
oh,
days later
that's bad. That was
he
bad.
got up. He
Mm.
got up. Well, I mean, they're making every other comparison. So Friday, we know that Trump comes out and admits that he has coronavirus in the wee hours, about 12, a little after 12 midnight.
Hmm.
And apparently, we found out later that he was experiencing a drop in oxygen levels. So you can surmise by that breathing trouble drove him to Walter Reed Hospital. They were that concerned about him. Over the weekend, he pulled a stunt where, again, like the movie Guarding Tess, he started just drive. I'm surprised he didn't drive the SUV himself. Let me really show how strong I am. No, forget that. Bring me a motorcycle. Let me pop a few wheelies out here, show the world that America's all good. And then yesterday, he was cured. Well, he's not really cured. He still has COVID-19. And I know folk want to make, yeah, I don't, we could talk about whether it's a hoax or not, too. So I'm not going to, drop my opinion on that just yet. But yesterday, he checked himself out against the pretty much the judgment of all of the medical world, with the exception of his doctor, Dr. Connolly. And what is his doctor going to say? I mean, what else will he say? He flew back home in one of our helicopters, staged something that is, I mean, oh my God, talking about scripted out, where he gets out and he doesn't just go into the building. I mean, that's kind of what you would expect a person who's convalescing. Just go on in, man. Take it in for the day. No, he climbs a couple of flights of stairs, rips his mask off, and then stands there waiting for the helicopter to finally get out so he can salute it two times, all the while gasping like a fish that had just been caught, trying his best to act like he was not struggling to get air. Now, it raises a lot of questions because he takes the mask off while he's still highly contagious. If he has COVID
Right.
19, no matter how he's feeling, he is still contagious.
That's right.
And I started thinking, like, look, we just heard that we paid, like, he wrote off $70,000 in hairdos back when he was on The Apprentice. So
Mm.
somebody has to do that wig for him. He doesn't do it himself. So that means that yesterday somebody spent time close to him doing his hair while he has COVID-19.
Yes.
Somebody spent time close to him doing his makeup or
Hmm.
tanning or whatever it is that he got, because he was like super, super red slash orange and it was dramatic with that white mask on him yesterday. Somebody had to spend time helping him put his clothes on because he's sick. I don't care how he's trying to portray it now in the public. So he potentially put at risk probably a half a dozen to a dozen staffers yesterday as well for this stunt, when instead he should have been in his bed, around people with full hazmat suits just caring for him over the next week or so. That being said, he then turned and went into the White House and has left. I mean, however he intended this to be, Royster, it has not turned out that way. This is being criticized by almost everybody except his 35% base.
Well,
What do we make of this?
even Senator John Cornyn from Texas has come out and basically said that he's been inconsistent and these messages are very confusing, all at the same time trying to defend him, but at the same time offering some critique of all of this. I mean, this is fascism and dictatorship at its finest, right? You can't show any weakness, you can't be vulnerable. I mean, and not that Trump would ever allow himself to be in that situation. I mean, one of the things that happened yesterday is that he sent out a text yesterday. It says, "I'll be leaving the great Walter Reed Medical Center today at 6:30 p.m. feeling really good. Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. We are developed under the Trump administration some really great drugs and knowledge. I feel better than I did 20 years ago." And I think this is really scary. That, one, he did that stunt the other day where he took a ride around to go wave at the minions and the sycophants that had gathered themselves outside of Walter Reed Hospital. Then to check himself out against what every other person would say is a reasonable expectation for him to stay in Walter Reed for the time being. He's consistently putting people in vulnerable places. He took the face mask off when he went to the White House. Absolutely dangerous. And I just think, he is, and then telling people that there's nothing to be afraid of with 200,000 people dead, and that a fifth of the dead are from America, when we could have done more to protect us from a guy who has state-of-the-art health care for free, because it's provided to him free by the federal government, who has a team of doctors that only are dedicated to him, right? Nobody else. They don't work for anybody else. They deal with him, a guy who has basically a hospital set up in his own house, so that if anything should go wrong, they're able to take care of him and treat him right there in place. For a guy to get up there and to say to people, you should not be afraid of this, don't worry about it, it's okay, don't let it dominate your life, is absolutely abysmal at best. And if I were to step into my deep Christian shoes for a moment, it almost sounds very demonic. So that is, I'm at the place. Literally last night I'm looking through the book of Revelation and I'm like, there says something about the Antichrist in here, like, being injured in the head and getting healed. And I'm like, I wonder if this is something related to this, because this is incredibly dangerous. And this man's got a cult following that does whatever he tells them to do without any thought or any critique of it. It's absolutely strange to me.
Well, let me just tell you, there is a silver lining in it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, because I figured out what to get you for Christmas.
What's that? What are you getting me?
Well, I have to pre-order it first. It's not ready yet.
Okay.
So, because I know you want one of these. So to commemorate this moment, I'm going to order from the White House gift shop.
Oh, geez.
It's a COVID coin. And it's a coin that celebrates the fact that Trump defeated COVID. It only costs $100. That's my budget for your Christmas gift.
Look, do me a favor. Save your money. Give it to your kids. Don't spend. Don't do that for me. I appreciate you, bro. Don't do that for me. Don't do it. It's not necessary. Really not necessary.
They announced yesterday as he comes back. I mean. Dude,
right. Oh my God, you're marketing the White House. Oh my goodness, what is going on in this place?
I mean, if it were, so I laugh about the coin, but in all seriousness, what's not funny is that yesterday, 500 to 1,000 Americans died from COVID.
Yeah,
we're at 211,000 people who have died. I mean. These are like the kind of numbers that rival like deaths on the battlefield in like wars like World War II and things of that nature that you don't even think about. I mean, we've long passed Vietnam numbers, and you don't know anybody that doesn't know somebody that was killed during Vietnam, right? And we eclipsed that number like months ago.
That's
And
right.
so now you're at a place where, I mean, in all seriousness, who doesn't know somebody who has died from COVID or who's been seriously sick from COVID? Yesterday, I got a message and saw on Facebook one of my very good friends from undergrad, first person I met